I really appreciate everyone's use of body and mind and spirit and voice in this fight against injustice and inhumanity. It takes all of us fighting in a lot of different ways. So whether you're on the ground, whether you're fighting legally, if you're donating your time or your money, or in your voice, or if you're risking your life, we do see you and we all thank you. My grandmother survived a Nazi labor camp after her family was torn apart and killed. Here's a photo of her outside of that camp. That's her on the end there. Part of the reason that she survived was because of her Uncle Louis, who was an elected official when the Nazi Party started to infiltrate. He burned and changed her record of being Jewish. And the last time that she saw her uncle, he slipped from her hands during a train bombing, trying to get her to safety. Her family died saving her and saving others. And when she arrived at the labor camp, my grandma, she was still a teenager, she was required to strip naked and have a physical examination. Male doctors examined and touched her and other girls and noted, "She's cute, isn't she?" They lectured to my grandmother that they were going to become racially pure German mothers. They were inspecting them like cattle. She saw women tortured, burned alive, and bombed to pieces. My grandmother taught me then the horrors of dictatorship and fascism, and how silence is compliance, and to never be silent. I refuse to be silent when black and brown people are murdered by police. I refuse to be silent about the genocide of indigenous people that America was founded on. I refuse to be silent about the genocide of the Palestinian people, murder in Sudan, murder in Venezuela. I refuse to be silent about the government abuse, the racism, the discrimination, and murder targeting immigrant communities. And that is why on many days, including on September 12th, 2005, which is the same day that ICE murdered Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, and we'll say his name again, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. The same day that that murder occurred, I used my body, my voice, my spirit to peacefully protest out of the Broadview concentration camp in Broadview, Illinois. I wanted to be there for my immigrant neighbors and community members being impacted by the kidnapping, the violence, the murder. And I also wanted to prevent and to stop the illegal and inhumane detention of individuals by exercising my rights on the public sidewalk, demanding their release, and preventing additional kidnapping and murder from occurring. While peacefully protesting that day with this same mobility cane on that public sidewalk, I was shot in the head and assaulted by ICE agents with chemical munitions and projectiles. I had sat down for a moment during the protest to rest my legs on the sidewalk. As soon as I did that, ICE came out from the garage to join agents that were already on the rooftop watching us. And all I remember is saying to these agents, "I am disabled," and then I saw a big red ball come to my face, and then nothing. I started to hear a few things. I felt pain all throughout my body. I felt wet all over. I didn't really know what was going on. I couldn't open my eyes, and I didn't feel like I could breathe. Later, I would see news footage of what had actually occurred. They shot me from the rooftop, knocked me back, and as I was trying to get away with my cane, they continued to shoot me in the chest, in the arms, in the legs, in the back. Nearby protesters pulled me out of that range of fire, and they called an ambulance, but paramedics could not reach me due to ICE continuing to assault us all. The continued ammunition and the amount of chemical weaponry and pepper projectiles prevented the ambulance from coming to me, and once I was put in the ambulance, they couldn't take off because the paramedics couldn't see and were choking on the pepper spray that was coming off of my body. I never thought that I would leave that day further disabled for using my voice, and I cannot imagine what it was like for my parents to be called by an unknown number to be told that their child has been shot in the head by ice, and the relief that they must have felt hours later when they finally could hear my voice, the relief that other parents, other children, other loved ones, sisters, brothers, cousins will never have. My family and I cannot imagine, and we do not pretend, and we do not share the same lived experience of the unbearable amount of grief that these families are going through. And what happened to me is devastating, but it is nothing. It is nothing compared to the cruelty inflicted on people inside of these facilities. Those who have disappeared, those who have lost their families, and the violent deaths that have occurred. I want you to know that I will not be stopping. I haven't stopped. Since that assault, I volunteer several hours a day. I canvass, I patrol, I protect communities. I'm trained in rapid response. I still de-arrest. I work with legislators to ensure that we can make policy changes. I volunteer with organizations like ICIRR, ACLU, Planned Parenthood of Illinois. I participate in buyouts and boycotts that impact the greedy, in power, who stood for what is not right and who are funding these concentration camps and these murders. And I'm still at Broadview every week, right where they shot me, recording agents and their vehicles to be held accountable for their crimes. One day after I was assaulted, I went back and Greg Bavino and Christy Nome were on the roof pointing ammunition at my head. But I stood in that same spot. Recording and reporting the silent and compliant, the cops and the state troopers, anyone who is not protecting their citizens and who are allowing people to be kidnapped and murdered. Because Grandma taught me that no human is illegal. I cannot let police murder black people in the street. I cannot let people in power control and abuse and profit inequitably off of stolen land. I cannot let ICE shoot a disabled individual in the street for using their voice. I cannot let ICE continue these abuses and murders, and it is up to me. And it is up to you, and it is up to all of us. As humans who populate the earth, we must keep pushing for people to be released. We must keep pushing to keep people from being detained. And because we are here to rage, I do want to close with this. ICE did fuck with the wrong bitch. So I do stand up in Chicago as well. I am a stand-up comedian. More obviously, I sit down more. I don't stand a lot these days, but ICE did fuck with the wrong bitch. I'm not a lawyer. I am here to truly weaponry of my choices jokes. And ICE is following a bunch of pedophiles as a leader whose testicles, Trump's testicles look like boiled over little raviolis. And that little orange dangly raviolis, which if you've ever wondered exactly why Greg Bavino talks like that, is because he is gargling those over-boiled little raviolis in his throat. No sauce either. He is raw dogging them. No sauce, just like a couple of oysters. And speaking of raw oysters, Pam Bondi, Pammy, was such a stinky little clammy, because you know that fish fucking reeks because she is festering, marinating in that seat. Lying. Fucking lying. If someone lies that much, like nobody that unbalanced mentally has a pH that is balanced as well. And I do hesitate to comment on Pam Bondi's mental state, because lying as a calculated tool or strategy, that does define you as a sociopath. And I am mentally ill, and I do not want to group sociopaths in with Pam Bondi. I don't think that's very fair. I don't want to hurt any sociopaths' feelings. But it's been really difficult to get back into comedy, so I wanted to try my best to throw a couple of things out there. Again, ICE, I'm not going to stop. I'll be haunting all these ICE agents and compliant cops like a little disabled gay gremlin tormenting them and their mothers and their wives, giving them the queer awakening of a lifetime while collecting their personal information for the trials, literal trials and tribulations. If you don't know what tribbing is, ask a trusted adult. That's all I got. Thanks for letting me rage a little.